Yo, what's up? It's your boy Zarin Michael, and you are now tapped into the Visionary Series podcast. Here, you will hear some conversations from some of my close friends, family, and creatives who inspire me to be great. You are a visionary yourself as well, so just know, whatever happened yesterday, you don't have to worry about that. Today is that day to pursue greatness. This message is sponsored by Super Clean Car Services, Kansas City's very own mobile detail pros. The quickest, the cleanest for when your schedule's the busiest.
Gotta make this post so they can see the clothes that I'm in. Already know I really shouldn't give a baby, I'm trying. Anywhere I go, never get touched, baby, I'm slimed in. Anything you want, baby, it's nothing to me, I'll buy them.
Yo, what's the deal, visionaries? Welcome back. You are tapped in with us to episode 4, season 2 of the Visionary Series podcast. Now, just a kind of a review of kind of last few episodes. Episode 1, of course, that was the intro. I had to get a little personal with y'all. Episode 2, I was able to tap in with one of my closest friends, Alexander Preston, and kind of show you the journey of how our relationship has developed over time. Episode 3, personal again, back. I was in ATL for the first time, so just kind of wanted to give y'all a little bit of a backstory of what had me down there and what I was looking towards for the weekend. Now, episode 4, we back. Now it's kind of a combo of personal and guest. So shortly, you'll be able to listen in on a conversation between me and my dad. I actually had my dad on season 1. I wanted to get a one-on-one with him to kind of see his thoughts on our journey individually. Now, we'll also be recapping Invest Fest and the Atlanta weekend as well. So, of course, you'll be able to get to hear and tap into that intimate conversation. But I also wanted to give y'all the scoop on everything that happened, right? I couldn't come back and not really share everything that I experienced there because it was such a great weekend. So, with that, of course, again, today's focus is going to be recapping Invest Fest, sitting down with my dad, and we're talking legacy, growth, and what family means now compared to season 1. So a few things that I learned while I was on the trip. I honestly think I definitely learned some new things, but I honestly feel like I'm at a point right now in my life that trip really just validated everything that I knew that I needed to do and wanted to do already. It just really put that stamp in that, again, gave me that validation to understand like I'm headed on the right path. As long as I continue to stay consistent and keep grinding every day and not take no days off, I'll be able to see the success that I want. Of course, we were able to listen to a few keynote speakers. We listened to Issa Rae, and she gave an amazing, amazing interview, a campfire interview with Selena Hill, I believe. And it was such a great experience. She just talked about her, of course, experience with the show Insecure, how that got picked up by HBO, how it earlier started on YouTube and got picked up after that. And then also tapped into a little bit about what the streaming companies are looking for nowadays in the show. While rap shit got canceled, it was a whole bunch. She gave us a lot of information, but it was super exciting and super insightful to hear her speak because that's a legend, right? Like, especially in our community, you know, just to see a Black woman to do the things that she's been able to do is just so inspiring, and it's just so much things you can take, you know, from that and from her experience. So just that's one of the main things that I was able to take. Just keep grinding, stay consistent, and if you want to do something, I don't have to wait until, you know, like I said, she started off on YouTube. So I don't have to wait, or I can't just wish that big producer or that big company is going to knock on the door and say, hey, I know you got a good idea. Let's shoot this. Let's turn this into a show. No, start today. So I already started, like I told you, been working on a short film with my buddy. And now I'm about to start working on getting this pilot shot that I've been working on for a couple years, actually, since I was in college. So I know y'all like, damn, yeah, it's about time, right? I gotta lock in and get it going. So I'm super excited to continue that work and build upon that work. And again, just taking that advice and that main motivation from her, knowing that nothing's gonna ever be perfect, but just get started now. Now, a lot of things. Also, I learned a lot about just entrepreneurship and independence. You know, of course, as we shared already, I do have my own business here in KC. So it kind of just taught me a lot of the consistency that needs to be put into that as well. And I was able to hear a lot of different entrepreneurs give a pitch in front of 20,000 people with no fear and just full confidence in what they could provide and the value they could bring towards others. So that just allowed me to understand that, hey, of course I got this business because, I initially thought of things like making extra money and things like that for myself, but it's like, it's not about that. It's just about the value that you could truly bring to the community. Of course, as I shared with y'all before, I started this because I really wanted my family to have something. I really wanted them to start building an asset for them, something that I could pass down or bring some other family members on so they can learn how to build a business, learn what true work ethic is, and continue to grind from within. So that independence as well was a major thing that I learned, that you don't need anybody, man. Like you can do it, right? You just gotta do it. You just gotta do it. And then of course we also learned a lot from Magic Johnson. Like that was probably the biggest highlight of the weekend. Magic Johnson told us all you need is 3 years. 3 years. So tell yourself whatever you want to do, whatever you want to accomplish, scrap the 5-year, 10-year plan. Do it in 3. Do it in 3, and every day as you lean towards that goal and you're in the path as you go on this journey, just make sure you're getting better every single day. 1%, 2%, 3%, 10%, 20%, whatever it is. Just keep going and do it every day. Though the consistency is what matters most, and being intentful and intentional with your words. If you say you're going to do it, then do it. 3 years, that's all you need. Now, I wouldn't say it necessarily, like I told you before, it didn't really shift anything for me. Like I already knew what I needed to do, but it was just such a big stamp, such a huge validation that if I continue to do and grind every day like I've been doing, then I will see that success. But I can go harder too. So just try to figure out how I can eliminate as many distractions as possible on a day-to-day and just get the most productivity out of my days as possible. I feel like just me being able to continuously travel and make these trips will keep allowing me to build memories and getting that inspiration that I need to come back, bring it back to UV so that I can turn it into what I need it to be, what I picture it being in 3 years. That's the goal, 3 years. So give me 3 years, like Magic said, and UV is going to be one of the biggest companies in the world. Now, of course, being in those rooms made me think about the importance of family and legacy. So that's why I wanted to bring my dad back on the pod today so we can tackle some conversations, so some one-on-one, in-depth, intimate things that I wanted to ask him that I really may have never got a chance to ask him before. So I appreciate you guys sticking around for my Invest Fest in Atlanta recap. If you sticked around this long, now you'll be able to tap into the conversation with me and my dad. I appreciate you guys. Let's get it. What's up, visionaries? We're back again, chopping it up with my dad. I had to bring him on for season 2, episode 4. And I feel like we got a lot of catching up to do. How you doing, Dad?
Doing great. Anytime I get to hang out with you.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's a blessing to be in this position, to be able to build these moments together. It's so amazing. And I appreciate you making some time to hop on. I wanted to start with just kind of going back. I know it may be tough to kind of think of that first conversation, but just going back to season 1, right? We know that the main plot per se, or the concept of that season, was me and Jaden coming together, me and my brother locking in and building something and attempting to build our relationship after years of being apart, right? What would you say stands out to you looking back from that conversation, if you can recall anything?
Maybe not so much. I'm not sure if I'm on the right point, but the thing that stands out from that period in time was watching you guys, kind of your dynamic, and as new as it was for you to develop, kind of y'all's flow. We've had we do a couple jokes about who's the big brother, and technically you're the older brother. So yeah, that was one thing I just remember y'all's banter about, like who was the big bro, and I try to remind Jaden that even though he was the first son that I met, he still was the second son that I had.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. And so, what do you think with that being said, how do you think that, that experience of us coming together, trying to find our flow, I'm sure that's still that was an adjustment for you, right, as well. So, me coming into your life after so many years, how did that experience affect you?
Yeah, positively. As I've always told you, it's incredible to have an opportunity where most fathers and sons are essentially growing apart. We're growing together. When you guys is 20,
Right.
it's a time where a lot of young men are flying the coop on their own way. They don't have time for their parents, and so because we missed out on so much time earlier in life, we're just doing the opposite, and like we're trying to find every moment we can to get closer together. And that's the greatest joy that I've experienced in my adult life.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And I, like you said, just the fact of having that ability to grow together. Just to kind of be transparent. Me. We've had these conversations off camera, but I honestly never thought that I would have the opportunity to have you or have a dad in my life. I always kind of grew up friends. Going around them and them having their dads, and you're just like, man, what's going on? Why can't I get blessed with this opportunity? But I came to understand that everything happens for a reason, right? Like God always puts us in the position that He needs us to be in when He wants it to be. It's not going to be on our time. So it's just such a blessing to. I know I keep reiterating blessings, but that's what life is, and this moment and this journey is together. It's a blessing to be able to be here with you now. And of course, there isn't any ill will or anything like that. Like you said, we're just growing and showing loving each other, showing each other how to be men at the same time too, because it's a good thing of which we iron sharpens iron. So just being able to come into each other's lives at this point, I think it worked for the best. Honestly, like I think it probably was the best case of us coming together at with me being at this age, me kind of going through some experiences to mature myself while you also have went through a lot of experiences that you can kind of pour into me too. So I think you're definitely spot on with that.
Yep, and it's all for our good. That's one thing our Lord and Savior assures us, is that regardless of what type of trials we may face separately and together, it's for our good. And so it's going to be good. It's time we get to spend together.
Amen. now, of course, right? Like I got a few siblings, right? And I know we have. I have a younger brother. How old is JoJo? Is he 3?
JoJo's 4. Yeah, just
Four.
turned
Four. I was
4.
one off.
Yeah.
One off. Okay. 4. So 4. How has all of this like changed the way you see family dynamics now? Like kind of starting over, but also getting with us. Just like you made the joke before. I remember you saying now you getting an older baby too. Like this is our relationship is new. How has that changed the way you see that?
Yeah, it's actually, I won't use the term regret. However, I feel like I missed so much. I'm like watching a 4-year-old now, and I'm thinking, man, if I'd have known how awesome this was, or any other opportunity had presented itself for me to be in the life of every one of my kids from a day, or from day one and on a daily basis, I would have done anything I could to make that happen. So it's just giving me a better perspective, and because I missed out on so much, greater appreciation for every moment I get.
Okay, yeah, that makes total sense. Okay, so like you said, going into the appreciation and just the thought of knowing, hey, of course I missed out on these opportunities, but I have this opportunity now to be the dad I would say the man that you always knew you wanted to be, but just now having that, I would say, that foresight and that intention of, hey, every day I have to, this is the path that I need to follow. How does it feel to kind of let me ask that, when you first we first came across each other, how did it feel to kind of just see the maturity, I would say, that is instilled in me? I don't want to like toot my own horn when I say something like that, but just like, how does it feel to kind of see that and say, hey, like, you know, seeing me in these new spaces, podcasting, music, now trying to do acting, like, how does that kind of influence you, or make you feel just to kind of see me in these spaces?
Well, two sides of it. I'm incredibly proud and grateful to be able to watch you, show your talent. You're an immensely talented young man. So you remind me, not tooting my horn, a lot like myself. So I'm watching you like, oh, at a young age, like, oh, okay. Yeah, I see where a lot of this personality comes from. And then what Josiah has taught me much about is learning from my kids. So, it's cool to be a dad and be a leader, be an example, but it's always an opportunity to learn from anybody, but especially from the people you spend, the most intimate time with.
Right. That makes sense. So what do you think, raising a 4-year-old now, what if you could just pick one thing that was probably the most important thing you've learned to this point, what would you say it is?
Free time. Biggest thing is, so like to a lot of fathers that I know of, even moms that I know of, every chance they get away from their kids, they're like, oh man, I finally got away and I could. Well, because I have to maximize this opportunity because I'm 48, Josiah's 4. I have to maximize my opportunity to care for him. And so when I'm not with him, I'm most likely just resting or preparing something because, 4-year-old, you got to chase him around. It's not like you and I talking,
Right.
hanging. We can have a laugh, a lot of different things we can do as adults. But with him, I got to play. I have to be able to throw the ball, catch the ball, play at the park, ride the bike. So, my rest is important. My sleep is important. And then he's in such a needy at 4, everything you need, I have to provide, whether it's a shoe, a sock, whatever it might be. So, like, when I'm not with him, I have to be preparing for the time that I will be with him. So that comes focusing in on my money, focusing in on my health, focusing in on my rest. And that's what I do with my time that I'm not chasing him at the park.
Okay. Right. That makes sense. You said free time, and it sounds like, just continuously being intentional with everything that you do, and especially with that time specifically. Now,
Yeah, and
tell
I
me a
don't
little
want to
bit
miss
about,
something. I'm sorry, but I don't want to miss something.
yeah, what you got?
Also, that free time that I spent in the streets, not just the free time, but how I used to misuse my free time. And, I
Right.
thought,
Yeah.
man, I gotta go. I need a girl, or I need a drink, or I need all of these things that I used to spend or waste my time doing. I don't have capacity for because it's not healthy for me. Don't get me wrong. I still like to have a good time. I'll go out and shoot some pool, have a beer with my buddies. But that's an hour, 2 hours, and then I got to go get to bed, get ready to make some money.
Right. I got to get
So
out.
yeah, just a lot of wasted time was spent.
Right. That makes sense. And it's, it's, we men, and we are human at the same time too. So of course, there is always going to be no one, we can never be perfect, right? But just continuously being intentional every day is the best path. And there will always be things of this world that's going to keep trying to grab at us and bring us down. Like you said, the
Right.
streets and different things, women. And I feel like that's actually a key point, or a key insight of the journey that I try to display on Anakin. The new project I got coming out, just showing the different paths of, hey, I do have these things that I battle with, but at the end of the day, it's about overcoming them and remaining faithful and staying intentional in that faith and being resilient. But I'm open and honest. Like I feel like this is probably the most authentic music that I've made, just because I'm able to be honest with myself and not necessarily everything is necessarily a personal story, right? But just be able to create a story that could kind of reflect some of reflect some of the emotions that I experience in my life, leading up to where I'm at right now. But just kind of to go back on that, like I said, we talked about resiliency and faith and intention. What is your perspective on those things like resiliency and faith? What do you think? Well, let's start there. What was your perspective be on those two things?
I would say that I've been blessed with an abnormal amount of resiliency. For somehow, some way, God decided to give me this ability to start over again. Whether it was when I was in college playing ball, in the pros, just in my post career life, professional life, in sales, and a lot of people just get down on the moment, and so I count that as a blessing, something that I would imagine that you have immense talent for as well, and I don't take it lightly. I realize that that's part of my journey, is to be an example of what perseverance, resilience, hard work, and overcoming adversity, what that looks like. I take those challenges on as personal, something that God instructed me or created me to be an example for other men and women.
I got you. What do you feel like keeps you grounded through those challenges?
Prayer, and most times, it's an intimate walk with Jesus, and I make sure it's been something I've learned a lot about, is how intimate prayer should be, because a lot of us, me included, for a long time, I would need something to pray, and then it would have to be some technical aspects to it. Like, do I need to get on my knees? Do I need to be at church? Do I need to have a Bible in my hand when I pray? And I can't remember exactly where I gained this closer sense of knowledge, but recently I understood that prayer is just a conversation. So now I've shifted that. Instead of telling the world or people, saying how I feel a lot, I just pray it. I said, oh, okay, I've got this thing I'm dealing with in my heart. So instead of picking up my phone and calling someone to say, this is what you did to my heart, I just instantly, pray to God about what it is and ask him to guide me, put me in the right place to handle and deal with it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I relate to that a ton, because I feel like, just like you said, prayer is a major tool that I utilize on a daily, just because a lot of times we try to handle these things ourselves, right? Like you said, somebody do something, you want to react, you want to try to figure out, all right, how can I get back at this person, or make sure that they know how they hurt me. But at the end of the day, it's not about that. It's just about that resiliency through all of that, and understanding that God puts us through these things for a reason, and that he also doesn't put us in any situation that we can't endure. But not enduring it on our own, right? Like laying all that at his footstep, at his doorstep, and allowing him to guide us and show us, like, hey, I know you feel like that, but let's just talk, and then I'm sure, once you lay it all out, it'll be released and you'll feel better. So I totally understand where you're coming from when you say that.
Yeah, it's even kind of comical to me to imagine that if I don't do it or say it, it won't get done. That's not true. It's, if it's intended to be done, it's going to occur. So I could choose to press it, push it, or I could wait patiently through the process, because what's going to happen will happen.
That makes sense. Yeah. Okay. So lastly, I wanted to touch on so this theme in this episode here. I definitely wanted to touch on legacy, right? Like, us, that's going to be a major theme in throughout this season here for us. But legacy, and how legacy leads into having a vision, and what do you see as me being your firstborn? What do you see, or what can you pour into me as far as my role now as both son and leader of my own vision? what can you kind of share with me, and what do you see my role being in that sense?
I would definitely identify with the term boldness when it comes to your role. I've watched your music grow, and I concur. I always encourage you to or you or any other young men in my path to refine yourself, refine your habits. You don't want to stay the same, but you're not looking to change the essence of who you are, but you want to continue to refine yourself. And so, being bold in a way that you understand that your talent is from our Creator, and so your duty is just to live the journey and continue to grow, and refuse to keep it to yourself. Reach out to somebody else, share it with another person, share it with your associates, your colleagues, your family members. Any opportunity that you get to show the world who God made you, that's what you're to do. And so, don't ever hesitate. If you got a vibe, you got a feeling, something you want to express, put that out there to the world, and don't worry about how it's going to come back, because what you'll find out is you're going to affect more people without knowing it than the amount of people you have affected. And a lot of times people won't call you and say, "Man, I get so much from everything you do," but it's happening, and you got to know that, and just continue putting yourself out there. You don't have to wait on the followers or the fans. Your destiny is set in stone. You were made to be a leader. Again, with your ability to share uncontested vision, that's what the world needs. They want to.
Yeah,
People want to hear more
no
of
pun intended.
men like you and I. Just yeah. They want to hear more of men like you and I expressing ourselves musically, artistically, in any way that your heart leads.
Yeah, I agree. You're right, and I think a lot of times at least for me personally, I often felt like over the years I've gotten in my own way. I'm sure, of course, it's like a big mirror when I like having these talks with you, because it's like a big mirror. I'm sure you see things, you're like, man, these are things that I've experienced. And, but I often feel like I've gotten in my own way of when I wanted to express myself, like just not understanding those things that you stated, and just being more so of wanting to receive that instant gratification. Like, man, I'm doing this, I'm telling these people this, but it's not affecting how many people I want it to affect. But like you said, it is affecting people that I just may not know. And even if it is 3-5 people, like that's better than not making an impact on nobody. If I was to leave and 5 people said, hey, this is who Zarin was, and I really got so much from him and from his creativity and him wanting to chase his dreams and have that uncontested vision. He led me to do this. Then at the end of the day, that's a success. So, of course, I always want to continue to be consistent so that I can do it on a larger scale. But God is again going to put me where I need to be when He needs me to be there. So I would say too, that was kind of the main difference between where I'm at now in season 1. Like season 1, it was of course something that was new, something that we were still attempting to build. But I think the consistency just lacked. And I just kind of got to a point now where I understand truly what an uncontested vision is. I've went through a few things after season 1 that's kind of allowed me to put these things in perspective, and know that I have to be intentional every single day. And of course, no one's perfect. So there will be times where you may not want to do something, or you may be like, why am I doing this? But for the end goal is sacrifice. And the main thing that I told you I went to, well, I know you may have seen, I just came back from Atlanta, and I went to a conference called InvestFest. So I was able to check out keynote speakers like Issa Rae. She did an amazing job. And then Sunday's main event was, or not main event, but one of the big speakers for that day was Magic Johnson. And the thing that I took away from him was him saying he told his wife that, hey, I just need 3 years. Give me 3 years, and what I'm telling you is gonna happen is gonna happen. And everything he said that with, from getting his yacht. Like he said, he said he was on one of I think Mickey Arison, the Miami Heat owner, said they was in Team USA. I think Barcelona. They was in Spain. Mickey had a yacht pull up. Something happened with the yacht. It was like broken down or something. And then another yacht pulled up, and he asked Mickey. He said, whose yacht is this? Like, if this is yours, who's? And Mickey said, it's mine too. He said that experience made him say, "Oh no, in 3 years, I'm gonna have a yacht. Like, I got to do this." And he said he did it. But he used that rule and that tool for everything that he wanted to accomplish with his uncontested vision. He said if he just got 3 years, he knew he would make it happen. So that's my goal here. 3 years. I want to be able to have, again, try to do this at a larger scale. Or even if not, just consistency for 3 years. I know this will pan out, and I know this will continue to influence and inspire others. So that's the exciting thing that I'm looking towards, for sure.
Look forward to you continuing to grow your relationships with local creators as well, especially in Kansas City, but nationwide.
For sure, and we definitely have in Kansas City. There's definitely a ton of creators that have been on the grind, working. And I think that's just the main thing with everybody, for real, just the consistency. And a lot of times we just let life get in the way, but we got to know that if we really want this, like, or if we really want our vision to be seen or heard or displayed, it's just got to be uncontested. That's all. So that's all. But okay, so we touched on a few things, right? Legacy, family, and of course, that creative independence, that uncontested vision, knowing that if we continue to spread our messages and be the men that God has created us to be, we will only have success. Now, I appreciate you, of course, making some time to stop back on here with me. For everybody that's watching, we appreciate everybody that was able to tap in with us for the Visionary Series, episode 4 of season 2. All episodes are streaming everywhere right now, 1 through 3, the link in the bio. And of course, haven't said this yet, but my new project, Anakin EP, is actually going to drop on September 19th. So we got an official date for it. It's coming soon. And we're also working on an event that I haven't really I can't really give the details yet, but we're working on an event, putting it together for all the visionaries as well. Now, Dad, you got anything you want to leave them off with? Any last messages?
Woo! S2E4 Razorbacks.
Now, everybody in Arkansas, y'all know, man. Y'all know that, man. Y'all know what that means. So if you're watching this, make sure you participated in as well. But we appreciate y'all. Oh, and we actually, dude, I think they play in Texas. I seen Arkansas plays Texas this year. That would be fire. That would be fire. If it was in Arkansas, I definitely would have been there. But who knows? We can still plan a trip. I think it's towards the end of the year.
Yeah. Let's do it.
That'd be fire. I never actually been to. Where do they play at?
That's Arlington. I'm pretty sure.
Arlington,
I have to double check the schedule, but they play. It's been Texas A&M at Dallas Cowboy Stadium, and I think they replaced that, or it could be in Austin, which would be a great trip.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, yeah, we'll stay in the loop on that. We'll get that plotted. Hit up Jay. I'm sure he'll be down. So that'll be fire.
She hop on it. Yeah. She hop on it. Yeah, bro might lose his. Yeah, feel like Stephon Diggs. Yeah, no, that's not no diss. Mr. Say the world, Mr. Tell her how it is. I've been plotting on this. Said I'll be a hero ever since I was a kid.